Okay.
Hello everyone. I'm Tarianoya, and today I'm with my friend Margaret Grace are going to present about design phase. So here we are going to give you a little bit of insight about design phase. So next.
Oops, sorry. Okay.
Okay, so this is what we are going to talk about here. The first one is the introduction to design phase. So this is about the purpose and the common procedures that I'm going to let you know about this design phase. And then the second one is the procedure, like one of the procedures, which is a conduct a task inventory. And then the third one is compose performance objectives. It's another procedure, like the second procedure of design phase. And then the fourth one is generate the testing strategies. And then the last one, or the last procedure of design phase, is calculate return on investment. Next.
Oops, sorry. Okay.
Okay, so the purpose of this design phase is to verify the desired performances and appropriate testing methods. So this determine, determines all the goals and what tools to be used to, to the performance, and then the various tests and subject matter analysis and planning and resources that we're going to talk about it. The purpose of this design phase. And then what design phase focus on is to learn is it's focused on the learning objectives and the content, subject matter, analysis exercise, lesson planning, assessment, instruments used, and the media selection. Next. Okay, so let us see what to determine in this design phase. So the first one, what you determine is the different types of media to be used. So what media that you're going to use for teaching your students. For example, you need to use a LCD, or need to use speaker for listening class, and so on. And then the second one is various resources that are required to complete the project. So this is the resources of your teaching. And then the third one is the level and types of activity to be generated during the studies. So what level is the material that you're going to teach to your students, and what types of activity that you're going to make your students do. And then the fourth one is using a teacher style approach of like how will you implement the parts of the project. And then the fifth one is the time frame for each activity, like the time, like for example, for the time when you ask your students to do some exercises, maybe you give the time like 5 minutes of doing the exercise or something like that. So yeah. And then the sixth one is the different mental processes that is needed by the participants in order to meet the targets of the project. And then this is like the mental process that the teachers like that are needed, like, so that the participants can meet the targets of the project. So yeah. And then the seventh one is the knowledge and skill developed after each task. So for example, like you give the students one task, and then what do they get after they doing that task, like what do they achieve, like in terms of like knowledge and the skills. And then the eighth one is the roadmap of how the study or project will appear on paper. And then the ninth one, like if the project it is web based, then what kind of user interface will you employ, like do you already have an idea on how the site will look like, and something like that. And then the 10th one is the feedback mechanism you will use to determine if the participants are able to digest the lessons. So this is basically like the feedback that you will use to to get to know your parties, like all this, like the students, if the students are able to teach us the lessons or not. And then the 11th is the, like, given the wide variety of student preferences and learning styles, because each students are different, so you gotta use like wide variety of preferences and learning styles. And then the 12th one is to pinpoint the main idea of the project, or it's like the training activity. Next.
Okay, so here is the procedure. So the first one is to conduct a task inventory. So the first procedure in the design phase of the ADDI process, and then the second one, compose performance objective. So this is like a performance objective is the destination for an instructional episode. And then the third one, generate testing strategies. So basically this is the testing in is an integral part of performance based learning to provide feedback from the to the teacher and the learner, like from the students and the teacher. And then the last one is calculate return on investment. So this is like a completion of the entire edit process. Okay, sorry. Okay, Talia.
Okay, so this is the first procedure is conducting a task inventory. So why is it important? So it is important because it specifies the desired performances that the teachers need to see from the students, like the students' performance. And then if it's like, is it meet like what the teachers expected? Like, so yeah, it's like to specify the desired performances of the students. And then the second was it's important because it identifies the primary learning task required to achieve a goal. So can it's to achieve the goal, and then like all the tasks that are like that the teachers used, it has to be like it has it has to be required like to achieve the goal like that the teachers want the students to achieve. And then the third one, it's important because inventory is this because it inventories the steps required to perform complex tasks. And then it also facilitates a way to determine learner readiness. So yeah, it is the way, like one of the ways to tell, like to see like the like if the learners ready or not for the next level. So in this for this conducting task inventory, what we should already know is the instructional goals, like what are the goals that we want the students to achieve, like what I said before. And then the second one is the general characteristics of the students groups. So we gotta know the characteristics of the students. Like if you like we need to see like whether the students is like the characteristic of the students. Maybe the students don't really talk much in class, like rather passive, instead of an active students. And then the third one is we should already know all of the resources required to complete the ADDI process. And then we should also already know the probable delivery system and the general budgets and the core team members and their primary tasks. So the purpose of this uh, of this conducting a task inventory. The purpose of this is to identify the essential tasks required to achieve an instructional goal. So yeah, it's to identify the proper tasks that we gotta use for our students in order for the students to achieve the instructional goal.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so this is the three categories of performance tasks. Okay. So there are three categories of performance tasks. So the first one is the cognitive task. So it involves all thoughts like thoughts, ideas, and some perceptions. So this is a knowledge, and then motor task. Motor task is like a physical exertion. So it's like skill that the students have, like maybe they can do some like maybe singing or something. So basically motor task is need a skill, the skills. And then the order task, so it involves a sequence of tasks. It's like a and it's a procedure. So instructional goals can be analyzed according to the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and procedures, so that one must perform in order to achieve the goal. Like Talia said before, the teacher should make a goal, and then and the teacher should uh, the teacher should set the goal, and the students should achieve that goal. And then a task inventory specifies the performance required to achieve the instructional goals. Okay, performance task.
Okay, so this is for the performance task or the second person tour. Okay, so performance tasks here represent several types of learning and various levels of learning that we need to use for the students in order to achieve the goals. So the first one is their knowledge. So how we do this? So to do this is to do like the observations and how the student can recall of all the information that the teacher is given, and then also the knowledge of dates, events, and places, and the knowledge of major ideas. And then the second one is comprehension. It translates knowledge into new context. So uh, we need to see the students can translate the knowledge that they already know, like they know before, like from the previous class or from the previous explanation of the teachers. And then when they get the knowledge, can they translate it into new contexts? And then the second one is interpret facts, compare and contrast, and then order, group, and infer causes. And then the third one is application. That's how they use the information and use methods, concepts, theories in new situations and solve problems using required skills or knowledge. So the students are expected to be able to use it, like use the knowledge that they already know. Like for example, the teacher explained about writing an argumentative essay, and then they get the information, like the students get the information from the explanation that the teachers gave to the students, and then they use the information to write the writing, like the argumentative essay,
Okay.
and then they use the methods, concept, and theories in that situation, and then try to they use it based on the skills, which is writing skills. especially to write the essay, and then their knowledge that they get from the teachers. And then the fourth one is analysis, and that's the teacher see the patterns, like, and then the organization of parts and identification of components. And then synthesis, that's use old ideas to create new ones, like for example they get the ideas from the previous meeting, from the previous class, and then they use that idea to create new new one to use it, like to use. And then the second one, generalize from given facts, and then relate knowledge from several areas. And then the last one is evaluation. It's to compare and discriminate between ideas, and then assess value of theories and presentations, and verify value of evidence. Next.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the 4 steps for conducting a task inventory. So the first step that you gotta do is to repeat the purpose statement. So the most current statement that should be repeated to assure that all stakeholders refer to the same purpose. So the teachers use like the same statement to, you know, to get the same, like it's the same statement but it has the same purpose, and then it's it's get repeated. And then the step one is reaffirm the instructional goals. So the goals should complement the purpose statement, so yeah, should be connected to each other. So, and then the third step is identify the essential performance task. So here it's identify the essential tasks required to achieve an instructional goal. Next.
Okay.
So, so this is just the examples of complementary purpose statement and goal statements. Like the purpose statement, for example, the purpose statement, and then you write the purpose of this initiative is to develop skills and incorporate a change management process part of the project manager's responsibility. And then you write the instructional goals of this statement, so it has to be connected to each other. So if the purpose statement is to develop skills and income and so on, and then you write there instructional goals have to be connected to each other. So like for example, the instructional goals is to define change management, and then second one, promote consistent use of change management terminology, and then create awareness of the change management process, and then integrate change management into the project management process. And then the fifth one, assess stakeholder willingness to accept change. So it has the same goals. The purpose is to achieve the same goals. So yeah, that's the example. Then next.
So this is step 3. So step 3 is like identify the essential performance task. So okay, so in this step we have to identify the essential task completes to the following data collection strategy. So the first one, we have to observe of the skill performance, and then videotape review of skill performance, interviews, and then technic manual technical manual review, and then the documentation review. So, and then the focus groups, and then the task yourself. Complete the task yourself. So the first is like we have to observe the skill of the performers, and then video. We have to review the video of the skill performance, and then do interviews like, yeah, and then the technical manual review is like um the review, the manuals review, and then documentation, and focus on the groups. Like we have focus on on the groups. Yeah. And then the last one is complete the task yourself. Okay. Okay, so next is the process techniques that can facilitate the data collection process during independent work and teamwork. So the first is we have to flip the charts and like flip charts and bulletin boards. We can make a concept map, so it will be apa? It will be more easier for them to understand. And sticky notes. Sticky notes. It's really, for me. It's really the best thing that we can do, because we can only just note something that we are really don't understand, or we are really um we that can make us more uh remember what we are noted down, and then compiling spirit diagrams for each goal inventory. So yeah, this is the example of a diagram for single goal inventory. Okay.
So this is the guidelines for constructing a task inventory. So the first guide is all tasks should begin with a performance verb, and then second one, task should not include the condition for the performance. The third one, task should not include the criterion for the performance. And the fourth one, should not repeat any task in the entire inventory diagram. So each task should be different from each other. And then the fifth one, each task statement should be as specific as possible, like the example that you saw before. And then the sixth one, each task statement should be measurable. And then the seventh one, use a visual convention for separating the prerequisites from the other ties, such as a broken line. And then eighth one, the inventory diagram should flow up and over to the right. And then the ninth one, avoid the words learn, know, and understand. So in your task inventory, you should avoid those words learn, know, and understand, because it should be specific, not just like students should learn, or the students are able to know or are able to understand. No, it should be more specific. And then the last one, no objectives yet.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, so this is the compose performance objectives. So you should know that all of the main performance tasks for each of the instructional goals that have already been determined, and then the capabilities on the general abilities of students who will likely to be engaged in the intentional learning environment. And then the last one is the prerequisite tasks required in order to start the intentional learning process. Okay, so the purpose of this is to compose the objectives include a condition component, and this is and the performance of component, and then the criterion of the component. And then the performance objectives defines the performance the student should exhibit before considered the competent, and then the condition under which the performance is measured. And then the last one is this is have to acceptable standard for of the student's performance. So we have to uh, we have to make the standard that is acceptable for the students, because yeah, we have to know the students performance is like, yeah, we have to make it equal. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is the general testing strategy. So the objective of this general testing strategies is to create items to the students' performance, and you should know that the criterion component of a performance objective provides the standard to measure for the determining success. And in this performance match, the performance required by the students should match one Bloom's level of learning. And then the condition match is the task that should also be congruent with the condition that appears in the objective. And then the last one is criteria match. So criteria match is the criteria used in the task should also be congruent with the criteria in the objective. And then the task. The task is like draw a floor plan. So, and then we have to make the objective. The objective is like after we draw our floor plan, we have to give it to the building contractor that can satisfy all country codes and the regulations. And then the task item is like using computer design tool, and the draw a floor plan is the lower level of a new home and construction of approximately like 1,175 square feet. Yeah. And this is the calculate return on investment. So calculate return on investments. The objective is to estimate the cost for completing the entire RD process. And you should know that the goals, objectives, testing strategies, and all of the resources is required to complete the entire RD process. So the calculating ROI is the procedure for calculation as follows. Sorry. Okay, so the first one is calculate the training cost. We have to calculate all the training costs that we need. And then the second one is calculate the benefits from the training, because yeah, and then because yeah, we have to calculate the benefits from the training because we need that. And then the last one is compare the training benefits to the training cost. So the formula looks like this: ROE in percentage, and then training benefits per cost. X 100, and yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the category of learning. 1 second. So in the category of learning, like we have all of this, the cognitive domain. So the cognitive domain is include all of this. The evaluation, we make it from the highest level and then to the lowest level. So the highest level of
No, the lowest level to the highest level.
the lowest level to the highest level. So the lowest level is knowledge. And then after knowledge, we have comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and then the highest level is evaluation. And then a performance objective provides guidance for the first, the proper testing methods, the selection of content, the selection of or the development of media, and then determining appropriate instructional strategies, and then assessing student readiness, and then measuring the students' achievement. So we have to make student achieve the students' achievement so that the students know what to achieve, and then identifying the knowledge skills that required by the teacher and then required resources. And then the last one is translating performance tasks into student actions that can be measured. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Okay, so
the performance objective.
so this is the components of a performance objective. So the performance is like the what the students will do, and then the condition is important. It's like the important circumstances under which the performance is expected to occur. And then the criteria is like the quality or standard of performance that is considered acceptable. Okay, next one.
Okay, so this is the examples of component performance objectives. So for the performance, the example of it is like, this is the example. So write a job description for project manager prior to the next team meeting using 750 words and approved by your immediate supervisor. So this is what means by performance. This is just the examples. And then the second one, establish project parameters during an initial client meeting consistent with standard operating procedures. So this is the examples of what it is, like what it means by condition. And then the third one is create the foundation layer for a patchwork quilt using cotton blend fabric according to the samples on display. And then for the fourth one, generate a mnemonic for memorizing the 4 aerodynamic forces to use during the construction of a 21 scale model airplane. So this is the example of the criteria. So the condition is parameters during an initial client meeting consistent with standard operating procedures. And then for the criteria, the criteria is create the foundation layer for a patchwork with using cotton blend fabric. And then and also the generate a mnemonic for memorizing the 4 aerodynamic forces. So that's what that it means by criteria. This is just the examples to make it easier for you to understand.
Okay, that's all for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The link in down below.